Hi YouTube, Dutch MGTOW here. As the system will not help me, I will have to do it myself. So I have decided on a form of therapy called talking therapy. It consists of, you wouldn't guess, a lot of talking. So goodbye therapists and hello YouTube. I'm here to get clarity on my situation, work out solutions for my problems, and build a network of people who want to give and receive feedback. I will try and document all of this and put it up here in full. Finally, a form of therapy of my own design, with my own pace and centered around my own preferences. So, here we go. My current state isn't desirable. I'm traumatized and misunderstood, misdiagnosed even. I've been on welfare because of this for the last decade and as such have nothing. This is going off on a tangent, but I don't get all the bitching about people on welfare. Have you ever tried to live on such a small budget? Or have you ever thought about the reasons people are on welfare? Seriously, if we had the option, I would work, but sadly, I'm too traumatized to do so. Heck, I'm in such a bad shape that even government programs for the disabled reject me because I function below quote unquote their minimum threshold. I've been neglected, abused, ignored and rejected for 31 years now. I'm an emotional wreck and can't handle being silenced anymore. I refuse to go down either though. I've gone through hell back and forth multiple times, and the fact remains that I'm still here. And between you and me, I'm planning to keep it that way. However, there is one thing that I will change. I will take back my autonomy and authority. I will take back my voice, and I refuse to stay silent from now on. As such, I have decided to both join the MGTOW community to add my voice to the mix and to start my own therapy on YouTube from a MGTOW perspective. This is hard though, as I'm ashamed that I'm broken, ashamed that I cannot deal with it anymore. In short, I'm ashamed that I've been abused all my life. This is no way to live and I want to be heard. But can you imagine going to YouTube for your therapy? Trolls everywhere. But it's my last resort. So, that concludes the intro. Next up, my plan. I've been in therapy all my life, and as such have quite a bit of knowledge about therapy. I've also done a few coaching courses and read every snippet I could find on coaching, psychology, and sociology. This to gain more awareness of myself and my surroundings. So you could say I'm more than qualified to do this. We'll see how it ends up. This will be a trial by fire. To start, I will assess and categorize all problems in my life. Then I will link those problems to their likely causes, trying to prevent confirmation bias in the process, which will be fun. Once I have a clear grasp of both my current situation and my past, I can start assessing the possible solutions. Then I will do a recap with a renewed With a renewed perspective of the solutions to my problems. I will assess my problems once more and prioritize them. This should clear up what is most pressing at the moment and should also give a decent impression of where to go from there. After that, I need to start networking to gather the context to accomplish my goals. This will be the hard part for me, as 31 years of abuse have left me scarred and afraid. More fun! While networking, new insights might be gained and new opportunities might pop up. These will all be documented and posted as part of the My Therapy series. Finally, I need to decide how to implement which plans and well, do it. Presto! So in short, analyze my past, analyze the current situation, research the best solutions, and implement them one at a time. Sounds like a plan to me. Up to my story. By now, we've had a general introduction to myself and my purpose for this channel. All of this will be used to make therapy fun. Yes, you heard me, fun. I've always been battered while in therapy. Everything is my fault, and therefore therapy has quite negative connotations to me. A therapist is someone who earns a living thanks to my suffering. And as I'm now doing my own therapy on YouTube, you can see how much progress they have made. Not much. So in short, they have kept me suffering to keep earning from my suffering. Great business model. Anyways. So let's get personal. I've been born 3 months early. As there were no signs of life, I was wrapped in foil to be discarded, but somehow I wanted to fight. The exact story is kind of hazy, as my parents told me this years back, but the gist of the story is this. They discovered I was alive, the nurse remarked I would be a problem child, and I was put in an incubator. There I lived the next months until I was fit enough to survive outside of it. Great start, I'd say. Up to my 6th year, I only remember a few impressions and flashes, so let's skip those few years up to my 6th. We just moved, and my mother asked me to get something for her. I was sent out with directions, a note, and a bicycle. I wasn't even out of the street, or I fell because of a stone on the road, and I hit my head quite hard. What I would now describe as a concussion. And the only thing I could think of was that I had to complete the task my mother gave me, or that she would be angry with me. Said differently, at the age of 6, I was already scared of my mother. So I got back on my bike while crying and completed the task like the prototype disposable male that I was already programmed to be. And that's my first memory. Yes, it will get even better. At my 9th, my mother couldn't handle me anymore, so we went to the hospital to get me diagnosed. Naturally, they found something, and I was put on Ritalin as I had ADHD, apparently. I was an overactive child, and I overreacted because of mental abuse, but that never entered the picture, naturally. Around the age of 12, I started to get depressed and blamed all the torment I was going through on my own behavior. So somehow I had to change, and this is where probably bipolar became an issue, or became relevant, whatever. When I was 15, I was diagnosed with bipolar. Quite strangely, around the same time, my mother asked the psychiatrist if there was an option to have me put in a closed institution, as I nearly destroyed her marriage. Even then, even then, all the mental anguish I went through was blamed on me. I had to be treated, I had to be medicated. The situation at home worsened, and there was strife daily. There literally wasn't a moment that there was no tension. When I was 17, my mother asked me once, "Don't you feel guilty about everything you put me through?" Even then I understood she was trying to guilt trip me. Still, by the time I'd fully internalized the message that I was wrong, not desirable, and that I could better kill myself to lessen the burden I put on society. I was having suicidal thoughts, and one of the things I did as a way to release the pain was to cut myself. Yes, automutilation. It's not just a cry for help. It's also a very good way to get your thoughts to calm down and get to focus on one point. All the anxiety and trauma, it doesn't matter. There's just you, the knife, and the pain. If it sounds sick, well, that's because it is quite sick. It's sick someone can be put through so much that the only way of coping with the pain is to inflict pain on him or herself. Just imagine the anguish you need to go through to get that messed up. Welcome to my world. But no, the story doesn't end here. At this point, I'm only 17. Still 14 years to go. Let's skip to my 21st year on this rotten planet. I got diagnosed with borderline. All the abuse and neglect from my parents and therapists had made me quite unstable. Unstable? Instable? Whatever. This combined with 12 years of misdiagnosis had turned me into a mental wreck. At that time, I had no other option than to go ask for welfare. Meanwhile, I got engrossed into coaching. I taught myself all the techniques and then took a few courses to get contacts from veterans in the field. This worked great, and for once I had the feeling I was able to build something. After I gained enough confidence, a task quite monumental in and of itself, I went to the social service and told them I wanted to set up my own coaching company, helping people with the knowledge I gained both through experience, lectures, and books. They told me it would fail and that they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Finally got the courage to ask for something, and it was quickly crushed. Shut up, you're disposable. And thank you. Thanks to the blow to my self-esteem, I started neglecting myself even more, and I had to call in assistance of social workers. This was from my 22nd to my 25th and didn't work out either. Starting to see a trend here? At my 25th, my welfare agency, I had to go to a place for debilitated people. There, they would have a place for me, and if I didn't do so, there would be consequences. So I went. I saw, and got crushed once more. After a period of about 3 months, they concluded that I was below their minimum standards, and they told me to get lost. That was where I lost it. I told them that rejecting someone for the problems he has a subsidized job for is lower than low. At the same time, I told the social service they could go fuck themselves, sending me somewhere only to be rejected. What the fuck? I also told them not to expect me to just do as they say anymore, as they didn't have the right to ask such things from me, not after screwing me over that badly. To my surprise, they took my outburst quite well, and I did not hear from them for another 5 years. However, last year they came to me and said they had to have me do something. I reminded them of the previous experiences, and they said that was irrelevant, and that they would help to find a good place. I was skeptical, but as I have no other option, I complied, only setting me up for another failure. Long story short, because of the registration I needed for that debilitated place, I couldn't get the registration I needed for that good place. I had to take care of it, so I did, and got back to them. They had to do the final paperwork, and I haven't heard from them since. Like, what the fuck, guys? Are you even trying? Have I fallen in one of the infamous cracks of the system? Not even on the radar anymore? After a life of neglect and abuse, that will certainly help to get me back on my feet. So, now we're almost back up. So, Now we're almost up to date. November last year, my mother called. So I told her that the contact was too painful and that I needed rest. I told her after a life of neglect that there are just too many traumas that she triggers. Finally, I thought to have some closure. But no, a few weeks back on my birthday, she decided to call me and wish me a happy birthday. This made me snap, and I told her that she was triggering all kinds of traumas she herself had created, and that I wasn't too happy with that, especially on my birthday. From that moment, I've been in one of the worst depressions I've had in years, and I've been reliving my trauma 24/7. Can't focus on anything else anymore. Last week, or by now 2 weeks ago, as another week has passed, I decided it was too much and that I needed help, as 31 years of abuse have completely drained me. So I've been trying to contact various agencies, and the only thing they want to do is make money off of my suffering. The fucking same all over again. Seriously, this is starting to become tiring. So, by now I've reached my breaking point. Nowhere to go, no one willing to help me, and meanwhile I see all the SJW victims get anything and everything they desire. I've had it. This is too much. So, therefore I've created my Dutch MGTOW YouTube channel and the MGTOW therapy channel, and this my therapy series. If no one will give me a voice, if no one will help me, even though I'm already broken from all the abuse, well, I'll help myself. But this will not end nicely. I'm on a warpath now to get compensation, and I will go through hell back and forth yet another time to get it. I've been there all my life, so trust me, I know how to deal with that. Justice will be done. People will be held responsible. You have created your worst enemy, and I will make sure to gather such a following that you cannot ignore my voice any longer. You will not escape my wrath. So, that was my story. Fun times, fun times. Up to the motivations, because, yes, there are things I want. Still, even though everything what happened. So, the motivations. Now up to the things that motivate me. Because despite all the abuse, I still have ambition, and dreams. So, what are my motivations? Well, I'm very much triggered by injustice. This, as I've experienced it quite a bit myself. So I'm very motivated to analyze situations, research solutions, and solve problems. I'm also motivated to learn about myself and my environment. This, as a better framework, should facilitate better results. Other than that, well, building up a life and becoming fully independent would be quite motivating, I guess. If I'd managed to create enough cash flow to set up my company and live a decent life, that would be very welcome. And with that, I would like to thank you for listening all this time. It has gone on for almost 20 minutes now. So, again, thanks for listening. And my next video will be uploaded within an hour? Yep, within an hour. Bye, guys.